today is Arroe Collins. He is an influencer. He produces television, has a podcast, has done worked on movies or produced movies, he will tell us, and written books, or at least one book. Thank
Yep.
you for watching Conversations with Jennylyn, and welcome, Arroe.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm looking forward to this. And I got people have to know about you, about how persistent you are, because it's like we all lead busy lives. But man, I was so proud of the way that you just kept saying, okay, we'll work on the day, we'll work on the day, and then finally we the day happened, and here we sit.
I know, because you are tremendously busy, and I feel really fortunate that you were able to accommodate me. And I know because I looked at your bio and you're doing so much that I thought, if I get an interview before December, I'm really lucky. So, so listen up, people. I'm lucky. And like he says, persistence pays off.
I just never say no. It's always a yes to any opportunity, because I love experiencing things, and so it's so when someone says, hey, do you want to do this? Yeah, let's do this. We only get to live once, and so I want to be able to do as much as I can.
Exactly. So you have interviewed some fascinating people. Did I see that you've interviewed Jamie Lee Curtis?
I
And
did. I love talking with her.
how did you get her?
It's I always say it's the universe. It's one of those things where, if you really believe in what you're doing, things that people connect, creative people connect somehow, some way. We all come together as one, and we get to share each other's stories and stuff like that. That's just like us talking today. The universe has made this happen.
Well, there's so much of what you do I find fascinating. And I believe that every single person that I encounter on my journey has something to teach me or to teach someone else I know. But I will never be so full of myself to think I don't need anybody. I need
Right.
everyone and the good that they can bring to my life. And so let's start with, which one do you identify with the most? Because I find for myself that this is so natural and so much, it's so innate for me.
Um, for the longest time with my terrestrial radio career, I always thought that my true calling in life was to be that on-air radio talent. But the more and more I got into it, I found out that he wasn't what I really wanted to be, and because what comes first is that I'm a writer first, and being on the radio and podcasting and everything that I do is only a vehicle for that writer. It's a voice for that writer, because I spend more time writing. Every morning I am up at 5 o'clock, and I've got a writing instrument in my hand. Before we even got together today, just a few minutes ago, I was writing, and that's what I love to do. I find great pleasure in putting words on paper.
So, how many books have you written?
A total of 6. But the thing is that I don't write the books to sell the books. I write the books because I enjoy sharing stories and things like that. And so the ideas will come to me for writing each book and everything. And I go with it. I just know it's going to. I have to dedicate anywhere between a year and a half or even 2.5 years into what's going to make this book, because I don't want to go into a writing project and then say I didn't finish it. And the reason why I say that is because I still have the handwritten, penciled version of a book that I put together in the 10th and 11th grade in high school, and that book was published 32 years after I started it, and so I don't. So I thought, wow, why did it take 32 years for that author to get it published? And well, because radio got in the way, because so many things got in the way of the author, and I think that after studying the words and wisdom of Julia Cameron with The Artist Way, I was able to really grow forward as that writer.
Wow. So, what is the book called?
Well, my books,
No,
The
this
very
particular one, the one you
Oh,
pinned.
yeah, it's called The Artist Way. And then there's the, I mean, it just keeps on growing. I mean, it's a series of books and lessons and things like that that Julia Cameron has put together. I have been a student of Julia Cameron's all the way back to the summer of 1994. And then to talk with her was just unbelievable. To spend some time with her, it was she's definitely mentored my life. And then, but but once again, creative people have this great way of always connecting. And it's like, how did it happen? I don't know. It just happens.
I agree with you. And the thing is, I feel like if you were born with certain um, instructions, they're unconsciously somewhere in the back of your mind because you can feel it boiling up inside of you. And if
Hmm.
you don't let it out and if you don't do it, I'm speaking about myself, it will plague me until I go and get it done. I don't
Well,
know if you can relate to that.
absolutely I can. That's the thing, is that, and I try to, like today I just did I'm back from a 4-hour lecture talking with future radio people, and we talk about that all the time. And I say, okay, we're gonna talk radio reality right now. And one of the things that I put a lot of strength in is that, to get them to understand why they're in that, to be there for radio. It's not necessarily to talk over records, or to go over look at me, look, I just dated myself, talk over records. But to or to go on television and report for news agencies and stuff like that. That there really is a calling, and that they're answering the call. But the question is, are they answering their heart, or are they answering because they think it's going to be an easy paycheck? And I hope to God it's not the easy paycheck, because true broadcasters know that you're gonna get bloodied, is what you're gonna do. It's a very tough business to not only get in it, but to stay in it. And then and I've been in radio for 42 years, and it's like, how did it suddenly become 42 years? I don't know. It's because I have the passion to connect with people.
And because you love it, because my
I do.
television show
I
is
do.
it's 11 years since I've been doing it, and I think, how could 11 years have gone by so quickly? I can remember the day I started, and it feels like yesterday. So
Yep.
I think
Yep.
there's something to be said for when you're doing what you love to do.
Yeah, and you sit there and you try to figure out, like one of the things that I'm dealing with now is that, how far do I take it? And let's just say that, because I'm a guy that says yes a lot. Is there going to come a day where I have to write a letter to my childhood self and say, hey, I had a good time, realizing your dream, because you're the one that planted the seed to be in radio, but I need to break free of this dream. And but thank you very much for allowing me to be the host. And I'm gonna have to write that letter one day to that kid.
And so I know that you've done at least one movie. Have you done many movies? And can you tell us about the movie you've done?
Now, movies I've never been in. I've done TV, and then with TV and stuff like that. And the thing that freaked me out about the TV was that, and I swear to God, I feel like I'm the only one that ever experienced this. Is that I got out of it pretty quickly, and the reason why was because I don't want to be recognized on the street. I was filling up with gas, and people were coming up to talk to me as if they were my best friend, and I'm going, what are you doing? I'm that radio guy who's in a studio where the only people that come and visit you are program directors telling you did the wrong break, and you sound like junk today, boy, what's wrong with you? And so but being out there, on that's one of the reasons why if you YouTube me, you'll see a few videos, but I didn't stick with that because people were recognizing me, and that really, I was like, yeah, yeah, we're very. That's one of the. I'm kind of an introvert, but I'm also a very creative introvert.
So you like to hide behind the scenes and just put your voice out there.
I do. I like to create. I like to create things and to see how people are going to act and react and stuff like that. But I will be very honest with you. Something that I never dreamed possible during the pandemic, because I'm such a people person and I do movie promotions and things like that. What happens is that I was without people from March up until September of 2020, and I miss people so badly. It was reflected in my writing. My wife was sitting there going, well, you've got to do something. If you really want to go be with people, you got to go where the people are. And believe it or not, for the first time ever in my life, I went and got a job. Radio's not a job. That's my canvas. That's the performance. And so I went to a grocery store just so I could be with people. And I thought, oh, I'll just stick with it until the pandemic is over, and then I'll get back to what I was doing. I fell in love with it because there's people there. I get to see people. And so the guy that ran away from the camera is not the same guy who will go to the grocery store and serve in the customer service department. But it's only because I'm in the one thing that I love to do is I like to create solutions. And so when people have problems, let's create a solution. Let's, if you're having a bad day today, I'm all ears. Let's talk about it.
So you went to work in a grocery store?
Yeah, because I've never had a real job before.
In the middle of the pandemic, you weren't
Yes.
worried?
Yeah, I was not worried whatsoever.
Tell us, what was that? Where do you live?
I live in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Did you guys have a lot of cases there?
Sure, we did. It's going up big time right now. It's with the Delta virus and stuff like that. And so, yeah, we definitely did. It was a pretty scary time, but it was just one of those things where I just felt like that's where I needed to be. And my wife and I both agreed to say, okay, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. But if not, I'm lucky. And so, but you just played by the rules is what you did.
So you went to work every day and wore a mask?
Yeah.
Were you ever concerned that you might pick up the virus from the people coming in, or were people maintaining the boundaries that have been outlined for us?
I think what made me less concerned was my martial arts training. Being a third-degree black belt, you're able to kind of tune things out and find your focus and walk your way. And so I knew in my heart that other people were worried. Other people were having a bad time. It's like during the insurrection, I was at the store while that insurrection was going on, and people would come up and you could see it in their eyes, and they were telling me what was going on. And they did have tears in their eyes. And so, but what was my reaction, but to be a leader, to listen to them and to basically, be, that's one thing I'm learning about being out there with a real job is that man, real people have real feelings, and real people just need someone that's going to give them a couple of seconds where they can just notice them and learn to say their name, so that the next time that I see Bob, it's like, it's not dude, it's Bob. What are you doing, buddy? And Bob, then he's like, oh, he remembers my name, Bob. So, and I love doing that kind of stuff where it just kind of knocks people off balance a little bit.
That's really awesome. I really admire you, because I know people in the grocery store, some of them were like trying to have less hours, because of their concern that they might be exposed and pick up the virus. So this is really admirable that you went out there during this time and worked in the public.
It's been quite a learning experience. It really has been.
So you said that you guys are having problems now with the Delta. I hear on the radio, but I am not sure which states are being affected the most right now.
Yeah, I'm a news hound. I like to dig up content and stuff like that. And I just looked at the numbers, and so the current numbers in North Carolina are 3,000. And then in the Charlotte area itself, 175 people were diagnosed with it today. And so, and it's still, it doesn't seem like a large number until it hits you. And so naysayers or whatever, but the thing is that 3,000 people a day, tomorrow it could be 5,000 people. It's a very different time is what it is.
It is. We are living, I speak to a lot of people who tell me, oh, I can't wait until we get back to normal. And I'm like, what is normal?
What is normal?
We will never really get back to what I think they're referring to as normal, because we live in a world that's constantly evolving. And so we have to go with the flow. And if we're stuck on being stuck, we're going to encounter great difficulty.
Yeah, because we are the first generation of COVID-19 now. I mean, what we decide and what we do as a human race is going to, people are going to look back at us and they're going to say, well, they either sat around collecting paychecks, or what they did was they got out there and they did something about it. In fact, on one of my iHeartRadio channels, I actually get on there every day. I do the show and I say, look, I said, we need you we need everybody to come together as a collaborative team, and we need to take creativity to a new level, because it took creative people to get us here. It's going to take creative people to get us out of here. And that as creative minds, that we need to come together as one and figure out how we're going to build that path. And because, 2 and 3 and 4 generations from now, what's going to happen is that people are going to say, well, what was it like? What was it like? And so, and through my daily writing and stuff like that, I do put it down what it was like, because I don't, we always hear of this pandemic of 1918. Well, what was it like? I can't find anything from anybody who wrote what it was like to go through that pandemic of 1918. You see pictures, but you don't see somebody who physically took the time to write about it.
So Arroe, you've been producing radio now for 42 years.
Yes.
Tell us about the evolution of radio from your
Oh my goodness
experience.
Man, when I first started, we were playing records, albums, and but it actually started in my bedroom when I was 12 years old. And I landed my very first radio job at the age of 14. But my father wouldn't drive me to the radio station, because it was 15 miles away from the house. He says, no, I'm not driving 15 miles, so you can go do a part-time job. So then I had to wait until 1979 to get my first job in radio. And so in other words, one that I could be there every week and do the performance and stuff. But yeah, it was all about records and making sure that that you were there for the performance. And then in about 1982, 83, along came this new thing that was called a CD. What? It's like, what is a CD? I mean, it was this newfangled thing. It was supposed to replace albums. You can't replace an album. And then moving from there, then we went to this thing called MP3s. Oh my God, what are you talking about? What's an MP3? What's a waveform? So yeah, the evolution of it all is that we've gone it's gone from being showmanship to personal. And what I mean by that is a lot of the performers that are on the radio today are sharing their personal journeys so that we can come together as a community. And it's not so, big boss radio in the way of, hey man, here we are going to be trying to be funny, blah, 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 blah. And even through podcasting, it took me the longest time to figure out what my voice was going to be in podcasting. And what I mean by that is what is your style? You can't go into podcasting thinking that you're a radio guy, because in reality, there's only one person listening. And then what I mean by that is that groups of people aren't listening to us in that moment, one person. And the thing is to include them into the conversation.
And so what specifically has your radio show been about? Has it evolved into different like inspirational, or has it been the same type of show throughout?
No, once again, it's like the word you just used, evolving. Everything is always evolving. And so, I mean, it's like it all started, my podcast journey all started because I was watching television on a Sunday night, and something from General Motors said that this particular vehicle that they were selling came with Wi-Fi. And I sat up immediately on the sofa and I looked at my wife and I said, my God, did you just hear that? And she goes, no, I didn't hear anything. That car has Wi-Fi in it. And she goes, so what? No, you don't get it. A car with Wi-Fi means that we're going to take things from our phone and put it through the speakers inside our cars. And I go, I want to be on that ride. I want to be able to, where people can be anywhere in the world and listen to something. And that's where it all began.
That is really brilliant. So you have to, this is the thing, is you have to stay on the competitive edge. And you have to pay attention, otherwise you get left behind. And right. What I notice with what people like you and I do, we are appealing to a certain age group. And so yes. If you're not keeping up with the flow, like if you don't know what Spotify is or what Instagram is, you're just producing content that's just entertaining the aliens.
Yep, that's so true.
If you don't keep up with the technology, your material is not getting in the front of the right people.
That's interesting you say that, because so many times a lot of the promoters and stuff will reach out to me and about doing an interview, let's say like Jamie Lee Curtis. And what'll happen is that they'll go, and what city are you in? And I kind of shrug my shoulders and say, it's not a city, it's a world. It's called Earth. And because, it's not, at one point in time, radio, terrestrial radio, yeah, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is market number 23. Yeah, but with podcasting, I'm in Russia. I'm in China. I'm in the UK, all at the same time. Well, what time are you on? All the time. So that's what I love about it.
And on radio, do you have a different name? What's your radio name?
Arroe is my radio name. And that's the freakiest thing about that when you go to the grocery store, is that my badge that I wear doesn't have my radio name. It has my real name. And so people will come up to me, and they'll hear me talking, or they'll look at me, because I've been in this market for 36 years, and they'll look at me, and they look up at me, then they look at my name tag, then they look at me and they go, and then so they can't make the connection that it really is me. And I laugh at that kind of stuff. And it's not that I'm playing mind games or anything like that. I just want them, to just, they made a connection, but they can't finish the connection. I love that kind of stuff.
That's really cool. I go out sometimes and people will come up to me and go, "Oh, you're a TV star, right?" And it's so weird. And I just awkward. I don't want that tag or that label, but this is how people perceive anyone from, seeing them on television. It's usually older people that will say this to me. But anyway, over the years of doing radio, how do you feel you've impacted your listeners? And have you ever gotten any feedback on that?
Sure, I have. I think that's one of the main reasons why my heart is still so dedicated to it, because it's always been about the listener. It's so funny you bring this up, because I was having a conversation with the broadcasters today, the future broadcasters, and we were in the control room, and so they get in there and they do their little jockeying and stuff like that, talking over song intros, and then after they did their first round robin, what I did was I said, okay, now here's what you need to do. We're going to do this again, but none of the conversation can be about you. None of it can be about the artist that you're playing. It has to be 100% listener driven. It has to be about something that they're doing. And they were like going, I don't get it. And I'm going, it's about the listener. The listener chooses to listen to you. Therefore, you have to serve the listener. And then they finally started getting stuff like that. It's about serving those listeners.
That's awesome. Yeah, because what good is this if no one is going to listen to what you're trying to say?
Right,
Right?
exactly.
So are you teaching podcasting, and are you also teaching people on how to produce radio?
Both, absolutely. I believe that they go hand in hand. I think that what you need to do is be a podcaster, be a blogger, be an author. We have the opportunity, like no other generation in history, to be everything. And that if you're missing out on anything of the mediums, then I think that you're missing a major chunk of bringing people to you. And that's the thing about it, is that we as artists, the universe is constantly moving through us. If we hoard that, if we hold on to it, then we're not doing justice to the gift that was given to us. And that's what, and I always call those hider writers. And what I mean by that is that I still believe that the greatest novel or television show or even movie has been written, but it's sitting in a box somewhere in someone's attic. It's because they're too afraid to release it. They're in fear of judgment and things like that.
And we're almost out of time, and I don't want to have this segment end without asking you, what do you want to leave with my viewers about anything?
I think that it goes with the mantra that I live by: share your story, or someone will write it for you. And I think that would be the one thing, is that I took the time to hear your story. And then what did I do with it? Well, we put it on the podcast. We put it on this. We did it. We talked about it on the air. Share your story, or someone will write it for you, because there's nothing worse. I've done so much research on the music industry, because I've hosted countdowns and specialty programs and stuff like that, that I spent more time with my nose in a book. And I was so grateful that the Joel Whitburns of the world and all these different authors took the time to put those books out there. Otherwise, I would have never had a connection with my listeners.
How long did you spend in television?
Maybe about a year and a half. about a year and a half, and it was freaky weird. And what happened is that I was brought into television not to be a serious reporter. What I was I was the guy that was sent out to events that reporters didn't want to go to, and so where I had fun was that some of the events, like I would go to let's say Toy Story on Ice was at the Charlotte Coliseum. And so when we were there to talk to the actors and things like that, and the skaters. But always during one of the newscasts, I would do something stupid, and I would do it on purpose. And so when I was on Toys on Ice, what I did was I automatically, on purpose, tripped on live TV. I did it on purpose. And so I would, every event that I did, I would always make sure that I did some buffoon moment. And
Why?
oh my God, it's because I was looking for my signature and all that kind of stuff. So, like sitting up on top of one of those gigantic slides at a carnival in Matthews, North Carolina,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the mayor of the city. And I'm sitting there with him, they're interviewing us. And then without his knowledge, I grab his arm and we go sliding down the slide. He had no idea that I was going to do that. And so, he wasn't happy. He
I
wasn't
was
happy.
gonna ask you, what was his reaction?
Oh, he was like, it was one of those, I wish you would have told me to do that. Or going to a 7 a.m. police meeting at in uptown Charlotte. And people are going, so what questions would you like to ask? And I said, well, the real question I want to ask is what kind of donuts do you guys serve early in the morning like this? Oh my God, that was the worst time of my life. I was escorted out very quickly.
Well, I have not had the privilege of hearing you as yet, and I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to, but is it more on the comical, entertaining side? Because I feel like life is so serious. Everyone is so serious, and life at the moment with the pandemic and the politics, you can't travel, and it's so kind of fear-based and serious that I gravitate more to the lighter side of life, and I try to keep my
Yeah.
show that way.
Yeah, I think that what I do could be. I think I got an answer to that question this morning when I was listening to Howard Stern and Dana Carvey, and because Howard Stern was asking about Dana always being funny, and Dana, his answer was, it's not about being funny, it's about bringing character. In everything that you do, bring character, and it's like, okay, that answers a lot of questions. It's like, because I could have a very serious subject and have you smiling and laughing, and never once did I pop a joke. And you're bringing character into the picture and stuff like that.
Were you born and raised in Carolina?
No, 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 no. I was born in Sheridan, Wyoming, and then we moved to Billings, Montana. That's where I grew up, was in Billings. And I wanted to go out to LA just like everybody else. I wanted to go to LA and be a jock out there, because I grew up listening to KFI out of Los Angeles, because you could pick it up on the AM radio. And so, but in the 1980s, I couldn't go to California because I wasn't anybody. So I decided that I was going to go to North Carolina to learn how to do this new thing called adult contemporary radio, which was Michael Bolton, Rod Stewart, Hootie and the Blowfish. And then when I was going to go to California, I was going to be somebody. But Charlotte kept growing in market size. It went from market size number 37, and now, like I was mentioned earlier, it's market size number 23. Why should I move if the market keeps growing?
So you never did go to Los Angeles?
Never did. My daughter graduated from UCLA, though, out in Los Angeles, and so we went out to LA a lot.
Do you like it? Do you like
I
California?
do. I do. I love it. And I think one of the most memorable things about being out in California, when we took the Pacific Coast Highway, I was like, okay, we're going to get a convertible. We're going to listen to Mambo number 5 from Lou Bega. And we're going to go down that highway like we're like, Thelma and Louise. Man, I didn't realize the weather was so cold out in California, Northern California. What? Yes.
What
oh my God. We froze. We froze out there in California.
What time of the year were you here?
It was August.
Wait.
Yeah.
You were freezing in California in August.
Yeah, we were. We were in San Francisco. We started out in San Francisco,
Oh,
jumped on the Pacific Coast Highway up there. Yeah, and then we started heading south. Made it down to Santa Barbara the first day, and then went into LA the next day.
Yeah, you had to have been in San Francisco because freezing in California in August in Los Angeles. I was gonna say, were you here on a leap year? But anyway, yes, I came here and I've been living in California ever since I came to the United States. And every now and then I get a brainwave that maybe it's time to move. But I just can't think where I would want to move to that would parallel life in California.
Well, a lot of Californians are absolutely moving here right now. It's amazing how many stories I hear, and a lot of them are moving to a place called Asheville, North Carolina, because they call it the California of the East Coast, and
Oh,
it's got a vibe about it that's very very California-esque.
well, can you believe it? Whenever I have a guest like you who is so engaging and I'm enjoying it, the time runs out. So, what do you want to? I mean, I know I've asked you what you want to leave with the audience, but is there a final message you want to leave before I
um,
wrap?
yeah, it really is. You know, the thing is that people need to do is basic. We all need to come together and grow beyond this pandemic. This pandemic doesn't have the rightful attention that it truly needs, and that no matter what you do in your everyday world right now, be it somebody who works at a grocery store, be it somebody a welder, or be it a doctor, that we all need to come together as a community, and we need to grow from this, because it's going to take every one of us to make sure that we live beyond this.
And last thing, where can people find you on radio, or how do people connect with your radio?
Just go to arroe.net, ARROE.net. You will find everything you need to know. In fact, there's even my brick breaks on there from martial arts, where I broke bricks from a push-up position. I had two bricks in front of me just to prove the strength of meditation. And people, they go, you can't break two bricks with coming out of meditation. And I proved it.
Well, Arroe, thank you for carving out time in your busy schedule to do this with me. And thank you for continuing to watch Conversations with Jennylyn. When a conversation is all you need to be inspired, like this terrific guest that I've had today. He's not only a great radio host and producer, but he's Superman. He can break bricks in a very compromising situation. And I thank you so much for watching me again, and I will see you next time with another fascinating guest. Thank you.